Welcome back to Current Topics in Finance. I am Andy Kim, and I would like to give you some feedback about quiz number 1. First of all, sorry to get back to you very late, but please, there was a personal reason. I have been very busy, extremely busy this semester. Number 2, even though it is late, why do I give you the feedback? Well, better late than never. Better late than never, right? Also, I hope this will help you in your presentation in the future, in your term project. At least, I mean, couple of days left, right? But just make sure about that, right? So, first concern that I would like to address to you before you forget, right, is this. Well, here, the number of digits, right, below decimal points. Where do we have to stop? Okay, it's very trivial. You may say, oh, isn't, it's just, as long as I give you the right number, isn't it just good enough? And I say, no, no, it's not good enough. The readability matters over here. Like all Korean students, right, without an exception, you did not trim anything, you did not round off, right? Round it up, all right? 반올림. At the, whatever digit it could be. For example, if I were you, I will cut at like 2 digits below decimal points. Oh, Andy, you did not specify that. I did not take points off, right? Don't worry. But for your future, I believe this is very critical. Why? So many 문과생들, non-engineering guys, even though they are 문과생 and then they happen to like numbers, they are still not aware of the importance of this display, right? 유효 숫자, effective numbers, right? When the engineering guys say, right, when you go to any mathematical notations and then their notes, you will realize their representation is very succinct and very readable. They know how many digits people usually care about. It's like usually 2 digits or 3 digits below decimal points, things like that. It goes without saying. I don't even have to say it. And plus, you are a business person, okay? Which means you have to be good at marketing sense. Even though you are finance guys, you have to be all-round players. That means marketing guys say what? You have to be customer oriented, okay? Who is your customer? Always think about it. And here, your customer is your reader. And then behavioral finance. I told you about the importance of readability, right? Simpler language and simpler numbers as well, right? Instead of showing how many digits is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh my God. We are not doing some number theory over here. In a mathematics discipline, there is one whole semester course of number theory. And some people spend their whole lives talking about these numbers, prime numbers or Fibonacci sequence and then Riemann kind of, whatever. We don't go there. I'm not asking you to do this, right? So, at some point you will have to cut it, okay? Round it up, okay? Like this. That's something very important, all right? So it's such a soft skill, very difficult for some people, but it's very natural that you have to serve that purpose, right? I found that European students are good at this. They're just cutting at some digits and they just do it. They have the guts. That's good. And Korean students, you need to try that too. Learn from them as well. Have some guts and cut it in your way. This is it. And do it. Good. And here again. All right. For example, over here, if you're going to round it up, well, what would you have to do? Just 1 and then 0, 0. That's it, right? Yeah. Don't just throw out all the numbers and flooding with the numbers. No way. Okay, it's no good. And then here I am, giving you this, right? So the answer keys I already provided to you, so you can just read it. But other things, well, those event studies, right? Event studies, Korea entertainment companies, right? The part one was about CEO interviews on CNBC, which is my papers, and then those are series of papers by, Joey Engelberg and Paul Tetlock and all these kind of guys, right? The key idea is that the media-driven attention gives overreaction to the positive direction. Why not negative direction? Because if there is a negative information, would you ever try to have a CEO interviews in the first place? No, right? You will avoid it. Given that you have CEO interviews, right? You may have neutral or positive information, and then most of the information is already released to the public, general public, and then you are just rehashing it. Okay, the CEO is just rehashing it so that the individual investors get excited and then buy it. Consequently, the price jumps up on the same day, right? At the end of the day, what would you do? Short sell it. Right? Short sell the stock if you're a hedge fund manager. On average, you will earn money. You will make money by doing that strategy. And a couple of things about Netflix is there, right? 오징어 Game, right? Squid Game. That was a smash hit. And then for Netflix, right? The fact that Squid Game was a smash hit was already known even before the CEO had an interview. So all those smash hit kind of positive information must have been priced. Then CEO comes up and spins to the more positive direction. So you will have more positive jump instantly. And then subsequently, it will on average, it will go down, right? That's our prediction. And then, papers after papers, we find those things, right? Of course, it's just the average prediction. The realization may be different. Actual realization may be different. And that actual realization happened differently indeed in Netflix case. But what I was asking over here at this time point of giving you the quiz was like before the realization I asked you. So you have to answer the predicted direction. So the best strategy for you is short selling it. Now the next question was about, is it guaranteed return that you're going to have it? And the answer is no. Okay, there's always various risk associated with short selling, right? Like limits to arbitrage, which is like noise trader risk, and then liquidity concerns and things like that, right? Could be driving away. And some people said, maybe some more positive news may be contaminating it subsequently, so that you may not end up with the predicted direction. I gave you some partial credits for those kind of answers, but generally short selling, I wanted to see that answer over here. And the fact that, point that it's not going to be risk-free, okay? There's always a risk. It's not a textbook arbitrage, okay? It's not a textbook arbitrage. And then part number 2 was about the entertainment industry associated with this 오징어 game, right? By the way, I made some, money by investing in the 이정재's company these days, yesterday. Anyway, so Studio Dragon and all these kind of guys compute the abnormal return. Yes, you should be able to do this kind of things given that you are my students, right? Please do it and follow it. Event-driven hedge funds, you care about it. So this is how we estimate those abnormal returns. I should have labeled the relative trading day -1 before it, and then those returns over there. But AR, cumulative abnormal return on day -1 will be 0. Anyway, so these are the answers about the cumulative abnormal return. Yeah, abnormal return, I just told you to compute very simple one, okay? So let's go to the, this, right. So Korean entertainment industry, all this information was given, and then the return, I wanted you to make sure that it is coming from the price. You have to compute it. And market return, yeah, you got the index, and then market adjusted return is just the return, realized return minus market return. That's market adjusted abnormal return. Okay, abnormal return for each different stock, relative trading day 0 to 6, right? And then you may wonder, oh, there's calendar day jump over here with the Chuseok or something like that. Who cares? Just move on with the trading day count. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, pa, pa, pa. This is it, okay? And then cumulative abnormal return, that's accumulating it, starting from day 0 and all the way up. Day -1, there's no abnormal return, okay, because you are not able to calculate the return itself over there, okay? Fine, okay? Naturally, it's gonna be 0 anyway. That's a starting point. And then company after company, you do the same. And then the next is you do the AR graphings, right? AR graphing for different stocks. And then average of these cumulative abnormal return. Yeah, cumulative abnormal return for every companies, you do it, yeah, over here, right? That's this. And then average of these, right? That's this guy, right? You graph it and you see interesting pricing pattern, right? The price or abnormal return, cumulative abnormal return increases, and then it seems like it's going to be significantly different from 0 all the way up to 16 percentage point. By that you will realize, oh, it's going to be significantly positive. Why? And before that, let me go to the t-test over here. So the t-test, right? This is something I wanted you to explore yourself, given that this is 24-hour take-home exam. You have YouTube, you have Google, you can search for t-test. Okay, this is one sample t-test. I told you, for each trading day, do the t-test. Day 0, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, 5, 6. Each day, this point, that point, that point, that point. Each of them, are they significantly different from 0? For each, I told you in that question statement. Some people did the t-test for the whole thing just once and got some points off. Partial credit. Okay, but this is it, right? For each trading day, relative trading day, 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way down to 6. And you set up a dummy variable over here, which is a benchmark, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. This Excel, right, was developed by some engineers who were maybe used to 2 sample t-test and compare one sample's average is significantly different from the average of the other sample. Now you have only one sample for day 0 over here. How would you test whether these car is significantly different from 0? One easy way is setting up a dummy variable whose values are all the way up to 0. Okay, so that this sample is all 0, that sample is your cars, and you have to do the t-test whether these guys are significantly different from each other. Naturally, it will take care of your concern. And do the same all the way down to day 6, right? So the t-test, you will get the t-statistics over here, right? t-통계량, t-statistics. And then two-tail test, 양측 검정, this guy. Oh, p-value over here. Is it smaller than 10%, smaller than or 5%, it says, no, it's bigger than, right, 10%. So it's insignificant. Day 0. Day 1, what do? Well, marginally significant, right? Two-tailed test, almost to 6%. And the same thing, next, almost 1% over there. And then 1% or 1.8%. And last day, right, day 6, it's like 0.4 percentage point in p-value, right? So very significant. That's that, right? So each trading day, you can do the t-test like this and justify yourself. Oh, these returns are significantly different from 0 or positive, right? That's what you do and how you report it, okay? And then graphs, and then like this, p-value. And then number 8 was an interesting question, challenge question, right? Why? Netflix, the prediction is going down, okay? But this one, is it the same as Netflix? And the answer is no. The answer is no, right? Why? Why? For these Korean companies, okay, it gets known more by international foreign investors, okay? And then not just the foreign investors, but the foreign producers of these contents, right? The movie producers or whatever art productions, right? With this broadcasting, they get more aware of, oh, Korean talents over there, right? So Lee Jung-jae gets known more to outside world, right? And then the model who was a 탈북자 kind of, who acted like star model, the female model who was doing the acting as a North Korean refugee, right? She got, people got more aware of her, so that her Instagram, right, follower numbers popped up like crazy. Now she's top 2 or 3 or something like that among Korean female actresses, and now she's going to Hollywood or something. Likewise, the demand for these actors increase, and then those production companies like 초록백 Media or like Lee Jung-jae's companies, right, or whatever, those companies get more aware. I mean, those customers, right? Customers will increase their demand for this kind of production companies, so that the future cash flow of these companies, okay, expected future cash flow of these companies may go up higher, okay? Expected future cash flow, that is fundamental, right? It's not attention. It's not necessarily attention, but the fundamental, the cash flow part may have gone up, so that the price will go up in a permanent fashion. That's what we find out in this little bit of exercise of your quiz, right? Interesting case study you can build up with this one, right? So that's the contrast. You see that the Netflix, this TV interview of the CEO is just the attention drawing and then supposed to be going off, because Netflix itself has been doing very good anyway, with great production, artists and all these kind of guys anyway. It just happened to be Korean guys and Korean producers, and then was just doing some interesting stuff. And then those news was already reflected in the price. Now the CEO pops up, if CEO does the interview, and then he hypes it a little more with a media spin, the price will jump up a little bit and then supposed to go down a little bit, right? In contrast, for the Korean companies, these guys get media attention, but not just pure attention, but it comes with more, more cash flow consequence to them. Cash flow, I told you, for a valuation purpose, you have 2 different channels, right? The fundamental component, 2 fundamental components of value. What are those? Cash flow or risk, right? Cash flow or risk. So this media attention may have given some more positive shock to the cash flow, right? So that's why they have permanent result, permanent stock price response. You see that? So that's what I argue over here, okay? The distinction. And then part 3, okay? I went to Tesla, and let's do multi-factor models, okay? But using Excel, okay? Just let some, give you some baby step going through like this, baby step. So CAPM and Pharma French 3 and 4-factor models, go ahead and do it. I say FF4F, Pharma French 4-factor, or Carhart 4-factor, whichever you call it, I don't care. This is just my habit. Pharma French 3-factor and then CAPM model, and then the regression coefficients, and then alpha is here. And I give you those results over here and here. Yes. So what I gave you was the monthly stock return data of Tesla since 2016 all the way down to 2020 and 21. And then I also gave you the factor portfolio return, market factor portfolio return, which is RM minus RF. That's that. And then SMB, HML, momentum, right? And then what you need to calculate was excess return of Tesla. Excess return in excess of what? The risk-free rate, right? Why? Because all these risk factors are about the risk premium relative to some other asset. In this, your dependent variable, Y variable, is Tesla's excess return. X variables are any one of these or bunch of these, right? Those explanatory variables have to be consistent with this dependent variable, in the sense that it has to be excess return. Okay, arbitrage pricing model kind of idea goes on, right? All those factors are a consequence of arbitrages, right? That's what's going on over here. Long, short, market long and risk-free short, and SMB, small, long, right? Long, small, and then short, big, and then high, long, high, and then short, low, and then momentum, up, minus, down, long, up, and short, down. All these kind of long, short portfolios, those returns are explaining your company's excess return like this. Okay, so if you run a regression, right, based on these data, okay, I intentionally, cut off over here. Anyway, until 2020, right? What would you do? Well, I, run 4-factor models, right? 4-factor models by running regressions in Excel, and you will get these returns, right? A result, right? And then I just relabeled it. And you notice that I just, reduced the number of digits below decimal points to 3, just for my habit, right? That's it. And then 3-factor, and then CAPM. I ran all those regressions and then obtained the coefficients over here. And the question was what? Well, if you look at the, first of all, collect those betas, right? Those sensitivity, right? And you see those market factor, slope terms, and then size factor, and then value factors, and then momentum factors, right? All the way down. And then I just also collected those alpha for easiness of our discussion below. Number 2, ask, right? Can we say that Elon Musk was an exceptional guy to make money for the company? Or how would you answer that question? Look at the alpha, okay? Those stock return of the Tesla. Is it completely explained away by those risk factors? If that is the case, the alpha will be statistically insignificantly different from 0. Okay, we would not be able to reject the null that alpha equals 0. Okay. On the other hand, if Elon Musk turns out to be a great CEO, right, up until 2020, right, then what would we say? The return of the Tesla, right, excess return of the Tesla will not be perfectly explained by those risk factors, so that the alpha will be statistically significantly different from 0. We will be able to reject the null that alpha is 0. So our null hypothesis is that alpha equals 0, which means Musk is average guy. Okay, and then what does our alpha say? Ooh, Musk is only an average guy. Yeah, this is a statistical finding, right? That we've, these data tell us, right? Everything the Tesla stock price is doing is explained away by these conventional risk factors, especially those market factors. The other size and HML and momentum doesn't explain that much. You see the T-stat not being significantly, right, like this. That's it. Okay, I wanted you to focus on the alpha discussion. And number 3, and then realized return, and then abnormal return. Yeah, computed based on these coefficients and then risk premium for each different period. Now, coefficient, you already estimated until the previous process, right? You estimated until as of the end of 2020. Fine. Now it's 2021. Oh, don't I have to update my beta estimate by 8 months? You're right in a sense, but it's okay to work with this December data, right? And then now you have the beta of December, right? And then multiply those returns of August and adding everything like that. Okay, so coefficient estimate, Fama-French 4-factor, and then realized return of these portfolios, right? Market in excess of risk-free, and size portfolio return, and then value portfolio returns, and momentum portfolio returns. You have those returns for August, right? If I remember correctly, right? And then multiply these by each respective coefficients, and then the product will be like this. This guy times this will be this. That guy times that will be this, right? And you just add all across. That will be this guy, expected return, based on Fama-French 4-factor model. And then now what you do, you compare this guy with realized return of Tesla. That will be your abnormal return. Okay, abnormal return. And then depending on which risk factor model you use, your abnormal return varies a lot, right? This is like minus 3% when you use Fama-French 4-factor model, minus half a percentage point if you use 3-factor model. CAPM says that plus 4.6 percentage point, right? And then the fourth question is, right, are these expected returns all the same? Right? Or expected returns or abnormal returns or whatever, right? Is it all the way the same? The answer is no. Okay, the answer is no. Why is it? Okay, because there is no perfect asset pricing model in the first place anyway, right? Fundamental answer. There's no perfect. It's a holy grail that you will never be able to achieve a perfect asset pricing model. It's invisible, right? That's the answer. Some of you have said, oh, that's because we use this factor, that factor, loadings are different, and then blah, blah, blah. That's not a good answer. It's like just describing what's going on, okay? The most typical errors those rookie guys make in your job interviews, right, is like that. Oh, you see one factor and then multiply this, and you see that 3 factors and then you multiply that. The coefficients are different, and you, as a consequence, you have different expected return. 4-factor models, you see your different coefficients for different factors, and then you will have different expected returns. That's not enough. 4-factor, it could be n different factors, right? Could be 100 different. But the question is why? You have to answer the question about why. And because it's, there's no perfect asset pricing model. No perfect asset pricing model in this world. Okay? That's the answer. Okay. Yeah, that's it. And answering it doesn't take long, right? Just be simple and then short. That's it. Yeah. So I hope this helps you in your final project presentation as well. Don't throw out tens of digits of number, right? Beta, 1 point, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to take some points off from you. Okay? If you did that, re-record it, reproduce your reports, please. Oh, I have no time. You have your fingers. Delete those. Yes, go ahead and do it. This is for your job market purpose as well. Do it. Thank you for watching it.